All right, so we have everyone present. So I will call the August 11th, 2021 Board of Selectmen meeting at 3 p.m. to order. We move from the Selectmen's room to the Great Hall. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? We'll do roll call because you're on Zoom. Ashley?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. All right, so we'll start off with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Gordon, we did have a couple complaints from Tuesday's meeting. We do need people, when they're speaking, get as close to that microphone as possible so it's audible both for the people in the room, your voice is what's going to carry in the room, but also the people on the Zoom call.
Don't look at me like that.
I'm looking at everybody. You're not special on this occasion. Sorry, Troy.
Okay, so we have an open meeting law complaint dated,
I think you may want to deal with the disclosure first, or maybe as part of that. You have the disclosure from Brooks and Durensis. So I think the first complaint on the agenda deals with them as a party.
I had the first one down as John Day.
Right, and that's for July 20th. Okay, yep, you're right, sorry. I had them in reverse order, so we'll get to that one later on.
Okay. So the first order of business is the open meeting law complaint, Board of Selectmen, July 20th, 2021, from John Day. So the complaint says the Board of Selectmen posted a meeting notice for July 20th, 2021 meeting, and the only agenda item listed for open meeting read appointment of building inspector and appointment of building inspector, including possible temporary appointment. The town administrator was on vacation that week and therefore did not attend the meeting. Chairman Andrews told the board administrative assistant that she would need not attend that night because he would take care of the minutes. The meeting was scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. The board went into executive session at 7 p.m. and then returned to open meeting at approximately 7:30. When the selectmen returned to open meeting, they did not engage in any substantive discussion. Instead, Mr. Andrews simply solicited a motion to meet again at 9 a.m. on Friday, July 23rd, to discuss the building inspector's position. And this motion was unanimously approved. The lack of any substantive discussion, coupled with the individual board members' collective expectation that they would be meeting at 9 a.m. on July 23rd to discuss the building inspector's position, indicated that board members had discussed the building inspector matter in executive session despite its placement on the open meeting agenda. This violation appears to be intentional given the conflicts of interest by virtue of Mr. Andrews' pending lawsuits that he has filed against the town and town officials, including Robert Piccarelli, the former building inspector, there's no and on that one. The highly unusual decision not to have the meeting minutes taken by the board's administrative assistant, and the conflict of interest that arises from Mr. Andrews taking meeting minutes for topics listed in the meeting agenda. What action do you want the public body to take in response to your complaint? Full and complete disclosure of all discussions, including statements, deliberations, votes, decisions, and/or any other communications between any and all of the Board of Selectmen during executive session meeting on July 20th, 2021 regarding the position of the building inspector. Full and complete disclosure as to why the building inspector position was not discussed during the open meeting on July 20th, 21, and full and complete disclosure as to why the board administrative assistant did not take the meeting minutes as of meeting minutes on July 20th, 21. signed by John Day. Date, August 5th. So I would recommend that we vote to have the open meeting law complaint handled by our law firm, town council, Brooks and Durensis.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Reluctantly second. Second.
Okay, Troy seconded. So all in favor, Ashley,
Yes.
Troy,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay. So next on the agenda, we have July 23rd. This is open meeting law complaint, Town of Halifax Board of Selectmen. On July 21st, 2021, the Board of Selectmen posted a notice for its July 23rd meeting. The meeting notice listed it as the only open meeting agenda item, appointment of building inspector, including possible temporary appointment. The notice also listed several topics for executive session, but none involving the building inspector position. The town administrator was on vacation and therefore would not attend the July 23rd meeting. And Mr. Andrews told the board's administrative assistant she need not attend the meeting because he would take the minutes. At 11 a.m., beginning on July 23rd meeting, the board went into executive session and remained in executive session for approximately 1 hour. The board came back into opening at approximately 12 noon. Mr. Andrews purportedly recused himself from the discussion of the building inspector position. Mr. Guerin, who was visibly nervous and remained so throughout the rest of the meeting, then took control of the meeting in his capacity as vice chair and began stating that he remains convinced Robert Piccarelli is the best choice for building inspector, but unfortunately that is not going to happen. Without any ensuing discussion, Ms. DeSeza then moved to appoint James Perry, and she and Mr. Guerin both voted to appoint Mr. Perry as the new building inspector. A town resident immediately asked Mr. Guerin why he was voting to appoint Mr. Perry, if he thought Mr. Piccarelli was the best candidate for the position, and Mr. Guerin stated that he was not at liberty to say. Mr. Andrews, who remained seating in the back of the room because he purportedly had recused himself, reminded other board members to put it on record that Mr. Piccarelli was removed from the town's payroll as of July 20th, 2021. The lack of any substantive discussion during the open meeting regarding Mr. Piccarelli's qualifications, coupled with the individual board members' collective expectation that Mr. Piccarelli would not be reappointed and Mr. Perry would be appointed in his place, strongly indicates that board members discussed the matter during executive session despite its placement on the open meeting agenda. This violation appears to be intentional given the conflict of interest by virtue of Mr. Andrews' pending lawsuits that he has filed against the town and town officials, including Mr. Piccarelli, the former building inspector. The highly unusual decision not to have the meeting minutes taken by the board's administrative assistant and the conflict of interest that arises from Mr. Andrews taking meeting minutes for topics that listed in the meeting agenda. What action do you want the public body to take in response to your complaint? Full and complete disclosure of all discussions, statements, deliberations, votes, decisions, and/or any other communications by and between any or all of the Board of Selectmen during the executive session meeting on July 23rd, 2021 regarding the position of the building inspector. Full and complete disclosure of all disclosures, statements, deliberations, votes, decisions, and/or any other communications by and between any or all of the Board of Selectmen during the executive session meeting on July 23rd during the removal of Mr. Piccarelli from the town's payroll with an effective date of July 20th, 2021. Full and complete disclosure as to why the board's administrative assistant did not take the meeting minutes on July 23rd, 2021. Is there a motion to refer the open meeting law complaint to Brooks and Durensis, our town council?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Ashley just texted me that she got kicked out, which I wasn't doing, obviously, but She lost her connection, so you're gonna have to wait a minute.
Okay.
Probably one of the kids decided to play Fortnite.
So we're just waiting Ashley drop connection. And it looks like is your screen frozen?
Well, nobody's moving, but there's nobody to move, I mean. And I've had occasions where it said, the
You did have.
connection's
Yeah.
not great, but. I think she may be calling in on her phone. We just got somebody calling in on a phone number. Ashley, if you're the 2586, you're on mute still for the phone?
Yes, that's me, Charlie. I
Okay.
called in.
Great.
So there was a motion by Troy to refer the complaint to Brooks and DeRensis for the July 23rd meeting. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, Troy?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is a open meeting law complaint of July 23rd. July 23rd, 2021. Read the complaint. It says, the position of the building inspector / building commissioner for the town of Halifax was expiring as of June 30th, 2021. The Board of Selectmen decided to open up the process by advertising the position and accepting applications, including an application from the current, at the time, building inspector / commissioner. On June 23rd, 2021, the Board of Selectmen interviewed 5 applicants and the current building inspector / commissioner for a total of 6 interviews. On July 23rd, a motion was made and seconded to appoint a new building inspector, building commissioner. The motion passed and a new building inspector, building commissioner was appointed. Considering that the Board of Selectmen chose to advertise, interview, and appoint a new person to this position, should there not have been some discussion from the members of the Board of Selectmen as to how and why they came to their decision? The request, what action do you want the public body to take in response to your complaint? The Board of Selectmen should explain their decision and the reasons behind it. Is there a motion to send this complaint to Brooks and DeRensis?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any, so I'll do a roll call vote. Ashley?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, so this next complaint. So we received a disclosure form by non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authority as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 19. It's from Brooks and DeRensis for Paul DeRensis and Naomi Paul? I'll let you. Okay. For the position as town council, the town of Halifax, 499 Plymouth Street, telephone number 587-259-5200, P. DeRensis at bdboston.com for email. My duties require me to participate in a particular matter, and I may not participate because of a financial interest that I'm disclosing here. I request a determination from my appointing authority so how I should proceed. The particular matter, a resident of the town of Halifax has filed an open meeting law complaint concerning the June 29th, 2021 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I think that's typo. Oh, no, June 29th, that's correct. 2021 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. The complaint alleges that the Board of Selectmen violated the open meeting laws by failing to have a discussion about the appointment of new town council. At that meeting, the Board of Selectmen voted to appoint the office of Brooks and Durensis, PC, as town council. Brooks and Durensis has been asked to respond to the open meeting law complaint as council. It's checked off that I am an officer, director, trustee, partner, or employee of a business organization. The business organization has a financial interest in the matter. Then it says, Brooks and Durensis has a financial interest in the matter as Brooks and Durensis receives compensation from the town of Halifax for performing its duties as town council. If the appointment were deemed improper as a result a violation of open meeting laws, it may eliminate a financial opportunity for Brooks and Durensis, signed on August 10th, 2021. Is there a motion to is there a motion as the appointing official, which is the Board of Selectmen, as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 19, I reviewed the particular matter and the financial interest identified above by the municipal employee. I have determined that the financial interest is not so substantial that it be as to be deemed unlikely to affect the integrity of the services by which the municipality may expect from the employee. Is there a motion to approve Brooks and Durensis continuing on with this matter?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Ashley, is that a second?
Second, yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay. All those in favor? Troy?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So I will sign this and date it today. Okay. And I'll give it to the town clerk to keep on record. So the next issue is a complaint date alleged violation is June 29th, 2021. The position of town council for the town of Halifax was expiring as of June 30th, 2021. The Board of Selectmen decided to open up the process by advertising the position and accepting applications, including an application from the current, at the time, town council. On June 25th, 2021, the Board of Selectmen interviewed 3 applicants and the current town council for a total of 4 interviews. On June 29th, 2021, a motion was made and seconded to appoint new town council. The motion passed and new town council was appointed. Considering that the Board of Selectmen chose to advertise, interview, and appoint a new person to this position, should there not have been some discussion from the members of the Board of Selectmen as to how and why they came to their decision? What action do you want the public body to take in response to your complaint? The Board of Selectmen should explain their decision and the reasons behind it. So, is there a motion to send this to Brooks and Durensis, or does the board wish to answer the complaint?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
I couldn't hear.
So it was moved to send the complaint to Brooks and Durensis to handle the open meeting law complaint. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Ashley?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay. The next item, we received the documents, so that item's been taken care of.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something?
No, we're going to move on.
Fine, I'll send a letter directly to the board and to your council.
Next up, we have procedures for reviewing, investigating, and responding to complaints concerning municipal board and committee members, department heads, employees, elected officials, and non-employees. So as we have started into this process, I think it would make sense to have a motion to have complaints that are sent to the Board of Selectmen to be delivered to the town administrator, who will have the authority to have the complaints reviewed or investigated, and any further complaints or counter-complaints be automatically included to expand the investigation. The complaints will be afforded confidentiality as to not affect any investigation. Is there a motion to approve that as a policy? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Ashley?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Gordon,
Okay.
you have that written out so that,
Yeah, it's semi-written. Okay, is there any other items? That's all I have for a list. All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Standing.
Motion to adjourn.
We don't have any public comment right now. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
So Ashley,
Aye.
Troy,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you.